From invisible to unstoppable, the courage to reclaim what was stolen. Good morning, friends. I'm Sharon, the Queen of Courage online, author of Fresh Courage in Retirement, a former podcast host, and at 78, a woman who's finally visible, sparkling, youthful, and living from my core that feels a bit like heaven on earth. But today, I want to talk about something raw, being invisible and courageous. You see, I recently journaled for the first time how much I hate what invisibly stole from me. The years of hiding, the stolen joy, the quiet theft of my essence. How many of you have thought like I did? If you really knew me, you wouldn't love me. I did as a teenager. We're the ones who harbored a dirty secret, played small to stay safe. But what people don't know, won't say, is invisibility isn't protection. It's a thief that robs your fire, your uniqueness, your right to matter. Today, I'll share my story, call out the lies that keep us hidden, and show you how courage reclaims it all. Because if I can go from being a farm girl in the shadows to queen at 78, and so can you. Let's ignite that spark together. Picture this, a 100-acre farm in Royal City, Washington, where dawn meant milking cows, stacking hay till my arms ached, irrigating crops under a blazing sun, and raising chickens and cows like my life depended on it. And in many ways it did. We're the ones who grow up in a survival mode. Me with one brother and three sisters in a tiny high school class of 24 back in 1965. Church every night, every week, um, feeling different, but focused on one rule: stay invisible. My older sister endured years of domestic sexual abuse from our father, having a baby by him even. To feel safe, I vowed, get good grades, be obedient, don't rock the boat. And it worked pretty well. I was glad he kept his hands off me. But oh, how I hated what that invisibility stole. The boldness I could have had as a girl, the voice I silenced, and the colorful life buried under shame and a dark secret. That cage followed me. First job at the local bank in Royal City for 15 months, then college on a shoestring scholarship, working in the office after classes, paying my own way, nights at People's Bank on second shift and running check sorting machines and IBM computers for 4 years, chipping away at degrees during nights and weekends. And since I liked baking, I often was grabbing a handful of cookies on the way to classes. The associate's degree in 79, my BS degree in administration, then the MA degree in behavioral science in 1987. Putting on extra weight seemed safe too. 19 years at GTE in Everett and Tampa, even in Dallas, working a corporate ladder and climbing in silence. Travels to Alaska, Switzerland, Australia, Hong Kong, Mexico. They sparked some possibility, but I stayed guarded. I collected words of wisdom from store signs in the books I read by giants like Napoleon Hill and Wayne Dyer, possibility thinking, and Brene Brown's vulnerability. Anita Morjami's near-death experience. There was Bruce Lipton's book on being belief rewiring and Stephen Covey's habits. I wove them into colorful fabric art blocks, hinting of my fire inside. Toastmasters and Dale Carnegie classes at Boeing polished my words, but I still hid. Then retirement changed everything. No structure, no identity. I became confused. How would I know if I'm being productive? Invisibility had stolen decades, my sparkle, my impact, and my heaven on earth living I craved. When a new profile that came in the mail called me an influencer, I laughed. I was sure they got that wrong. Me? The invisible one? But bit by bit, using my faith and taking baby steps, I accepted a podcast guest invitation. That sparked hosting my own 50 plus podcast. I posted about wisdom in my art blocks on YouTube and now on LinkedIn and Facebook. I wrote Fresh Courage in Retirement during the pandemic. And when I refused to live my life based on fear, it took 15 years off my appearance. I've never spent a night in the hospital. By being mentally strong, healthy, faithful, and always single, now my days feel right because I'm living from and directed from my soul. What people won't say, being invisible steals your authenticity. It robbed my uniqueness, my joy, the chance to inspire. But courage, that's the thief's worst enemy. The old retirement advice tells us to relax, downsize, travel, babysit the grandkids. That's the myth. That's fear-based and peddled by financial gurus and glossy books. It sells safety, but ignores the thief. Retirement without purpose turns to regret, a slow death at the core. Hobbies won't fill the do I matter hole. What people won't say, if you stay invisible in retirement, fear wins, stealing your potential, your impact on the world. But here's how I feel. Potential intrigued me from a childhood. Behavior science taught me to spot uniqueness, like I see in lots of others. Faith and near-death experience stories prove miracles and what's possible. Using Napoleon Hill's persistence, Norman Vincent Peale's and Wayne Dyer's possibility. Combine that with grit, and you reclaim what's stolen. As a natural encourager, I love bringing out the best in others by defining your true self and be authentic and courageous to be your best, like I did. Feeling like I defined my soul and started living from my core. We're the ones who milk cows at dawn, stayed obedient to survive, climbed the corporate ladders, and now we're the ones refusing to let being invisible steal one more day. Remember back when the Peace Corps started and the courage and energy it stirred up? And we were there when it started. Now is our time for giving back and unlocking sparks with potentially thousands of others who are ready to shine. Now, I've created many tools to help you be courageous. My book, my podcasts on YouTube, and Spark program, because I lived the theft, hated it, and transformed it into being a spark at 78. I can see your uniqueness when you can't. Encourage your fire with faith and wisdom. And discover your spark, rekindle your joy. I teach you to define your true self, the authenticity, and courageously be your best, having or turning voids into heaven on earth joy. Friends, do you hate what invisibility stole? Let courage reclaim it. Refuse fear. Take baby steps. Ignite your spark. Let's be unstoppable and visible sparks. Thank you.